Hey moms and dads, boys and girls, and everyone joining us by way of Basecamp Online. I am so excited that you've taken time out of your day to join us and to worship and to sing and to see what's been happening here in Basecamp. You know, as many of you already know, we've opened church and we're having live services. But for whatever reason, you feel like it's best for you and your family to worship at home. And we are so excited and thankful that you've chosen the path that fits your schedule and your life. In just a few moments, we're going to count down Basecamp Online, just like we do Basecamp Live. You're going to see Basecamp Live right here in action on your TV screen. Because it takes so much time to produce Basecamp Live, Basecamp Online, our Wednesday night events, and our family fun nights, we've chosen to record Basecamp Live and show it to you on Basecamp Online. So today, things are going to look a lot different than they have in the past. But it's still the same type of program, helping you, me, and all of us grow in our relationship with Jesus Christ. Sit back, step up, jump up, dance, sing, whatever you'd like to do. We hope that this helps you, your family, your brothers and sisters, or whoever else joins you to be able to worship God, learning that we can love God, love others, and then love the life that He has gifted to all of us. Thanks again for joining us. If there's anything we can do, let us know. Get ready to count it down in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's everybody stand up and sing together. Here we go.
Spinning. You made the ocean and everything in it, and you made the sky so blue, and you made every other color too. You made the sun, you keep it shining. You put the moon up in the midnight sky, and everything around me created by you only. I just wanna thank you, 'cause everything you made is so beautiful. Every single star and every beat of my heart, and it's beautiful. You made my feet, you made my hands, you made me sing and you make me dance, 'cause your love is all around me, and your love is so astounding. I just wanna thank you, 'cause everything you made is so beautiful. Every single star and every beat of my heart, and it's beautiful. Here we go, break it down now. Everything you created with your imagination is wonderful and good, wonderful and good. You're my inspiration beyond all explanation. You're wonderful and good, you're wonderful and good. Everything you created with your imagination is wonderful and good, wonderful and good. You're my inspiration beyond all explanation. You're wonderful and good, you're wonderful and good. I just wanna thank you, 'cause everything you made is so beautiful. Every single star and every beat of my heart, and it's beautiful. I just wanna thank you, 'cause everything you made is so beautiful. Every single star and every beat of my heart, and it's beautiful.
Wow, welcome to Basecamp as we talk about it as an indescribable God who is our creator and has absolutely no limits. We are excited that you decided to join us by way of online. Base Camp Online is here, and if you're not on Base Camp Online, someday you can join us at Base Camp Live, right here with all of our friends and our leaders. Today, we talk about an indescribable God, your creator that has absolutely no limits at all. He made everything you see, everything you feel, everything you touch and experience in life. God created it, and he is amazing, having absolutely no limits. He's indescribable. And today, we talk about our one word for the month. What's our one word? Anybody remember? Creativity. And let's check out the Haggis brothers to talk about the definition of our one word. Say it with me. Creativity. Then they'll tell us all about it.
Hey there, I'm MC Haggis, and this here is my beatboxing partner, Seamus McFamous. Say hi to him, Seamus. All right. This month is about creativity. Imagining what you could do because you are made in God's image. Now, if you know me and Seamus' work, you're probably thinking about the phrase creative genius. Am I right, Seamus?
Right.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you look up creative genius in the dictionary, it's not there, because it's 2 words. Anywho, me and Seamus have been trying to think of a way to show creativity, and we got nothing. I mean, we tried all kinds of things to spark some creativity. For instance, we took some tinfoil and some electrical tape and some toilet paper rolls, and we put them together, and we made a little rocket. And the result? Yeah. I mean, not a hint of creativity, though. And look at this. Ugh. We didn't just bake some cookies. We baked cookies that included our favorite snacks in them. We made cookies with beef jerky bits, and cheesy puffs, and French fries, but, mouth-watering, but no spark of creativity. We even knitted socks for sheep. I know, it's weird. Even the sheep were like, I'm not wearing those. We even played some intense games of math bingo. That's where someone calls out the math problem and you try to find the answer on your bingo card. Okay, the Pythagorean theorem. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Still, no creative ideas. Hey. I guess I'll just eat one of these original recipe cookies. The ones with the popcorn are my favorite. They're very creative, Seamus. Hey, creative? What was I thinking? Kick it! We've all got capacity for brain productivity, imagination proclivity, to imagine what we could do because we're made in God's image. Creativity! Word! Oh, wow. Okay. On behalf of me and Seamus, I'd like to apologize for not thinking we were creative. I mean, look at this. Yeah. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to have one of these cookies, too. Oh. Hey! Yeah. What is this flavor? Hey! Oh, dog food!
I mean, how many people put dog food in their cookies? I mean, dog food sometimes does look tasty, right? Have you ever seen those treats your dog gets? Like squishy, yummy, and even sometimes they kind of smell good. Has anybody ever tried one? I know one day when I was a kid, I tried one, and sometimes they taste good, other times, well, But we just watched the Haggis brothers, and they're super creative. Creativity is what? Imagining what you could do because you're made in God's image. Let's all say that together. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Creativity. Imagining what you could do because you're made in God's image. And did you know that? God made you in His image. You and I are the only creation that was made in God's image. Amazing! That reminds me, all you boys and girls out on Base Camp Online, you were also created in God's image. And sometimes, guys, When you and your brother and sister get in a fight, sometimes it makes us a little angry, a little upset. We need to remember that although we disagree, and although sometimes our brothers and sisters, we kind of have a little bit of a fight going on, that person that we disagree with was made in God's image. Our Bible verse for this month comes from the book of Psalms, chapter 145, verse number 3. It says this, "Lord, you are great. You're really worthy of praise. No one can completely understand how great you are." Everyone on Basecamp Online and everybody in Basecamp Live, let's work together to say that verse as loud as we can. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Lord, you are great. You are really worthy of praise. No one can completely understand how great you are. Think about that. There's pieces and parts of God we understand, and then there's parts we can't understand because God is so great. It actually means that God is indescribable. And God is indescribable. He's a creator that has no limits. In the first bottom line we learned about said this: there's no limits to God's creativity. What is your favorite creation that God made? Anybody here have one? Yeah, go for it, JC. Butterflies. Jonathan? Gum. Yes, he made all the pieces and parts. How about you on Basecamp Online? What's your favorite thing that God made? Yes. Pizza. He made flour and yeast and sugar and all kinds of things to make it. Yes. All the people. Yes, human beings are very special. What's your favorite thing? Alligators. Yes. Cats. What's yours? Kittens. They are so cute. Yes. Dragons. Animals. All the way in the back. Yes, you say that every week. Poisonous snakes. Those are scary to me. And yes, ma'am. Trees. And yours? Oh, trees is good. And trees give us shade. Yes, ma'am. Oh, poisonous wasps. Those are scary. Oh. Not only did we learn that there's no limits to God's creativity, but last week we learned this. God created you so you can be creative. And it reminds me, last week I made this super-de-duper, most amazing, so creative, artistic work. Are you ready for me to reveal it again? It took me 5 minutes to make this. I mean, this is what I made to show you because this is my creation. Many of you can do so much better work than this, but that's okay. My wife, she paints. She paints for people all over the United States. And yesterday, we went to a store, and guess what? Paintings of hers were inside that store. We saw one of her cows that she's painted for people. And in this store, they were selling it to people all over. It was so exciting. And so maybe for you, you can't paint, but what you can do is draw and color. Maybe for you, you write poems and you have all these wonderful words. Or maybe you're great at math and science or something else. Last week we learned God created you so you can be creative. And this week, we roll out a brand new bottom line. The brand new bottom line is this. God created you for a purpose. Let's all say that together. 1, 2, 3. God created you for a purpose. Let's see if we can say that really loud. You ready? 1, 2, 3. God created you for a purpose. We're gonna stand up and use a gift that He gave everybody here, our voice, to sing praise and worship Him. Let's sing. one of the things God wants you, me, and all of us to do, even you all on Basecamp Online, is to talk to him about your day. The good things, the hard things, and anything in between. Let's watch a boy as he, right now, talks to God and shares some things with him.
Dear God, Mom says we are adjusting to our new family. It isn't always easy. We went from being just me and Mom and Lee to me, Mom, Lee, DJ, Maria, and Frank, our new dad. And sometimes Naomi when she's not at school. Mornings are crazy. People trying to get to work and to school, and the worst, the bathroom. Frank just says, "Hurry up!" Mom says the girls should all go first. DJ really didn't like that one. God, everyone always makes jokes about how I'm kind of geeky, and sometimes they even seem to forget I'm there. But I thought there was a better way. I put up a schedule. It allows 7.7 minutes for the guys and 12.5 minutes for the girls. If we all schedule our breakfast in staggered times, we can all get through our morning without a traffic jam. It's worked for 3 mornings. Dad says the only traffic he worries about now is on the way to work. Mom said I was doing the good work I was made to do. God, thanks for helping me see how I'm made in your image. Love, C.
Isn't that super cool how God created C with a very special purpose and a very special plan? I mean, she knew how to organize things, write things up, and make it so everyone worked together. I mean, we need all those kind of people in life. And God planned for her to be in that house with those people with a specific purpose and a plan. And I got a question for you. If you in here and you on Basecamp Online were a princess for a day, what would you do? You would do some of the right things, yep. Anybody else? You would make bunny rabbits everywhere, wouldn't you? Yep. Well, all you on Basecamp Online, what would you do? If you had a chance to be a princess or a king for a day, what would you do in that kingdom? You see, God created this woman at one time with a very special purpose and plan. And we're going to talk about this very special woman today. So let's check out Jake and see what he's doing in his kitchen today.
Hey everybody, it's me, Jacob. And today I'm here to talk to you about creativity. Creativity is imagining what you could do because you were made in God's image. There are so many different artistic ways to be creative. And today, I hope to demonstrate just how creative I am in the culinary arts. Now you might be thinking, oh, hey Jacob, what are the culinary arts? And that's totally okay because I had to look it up too. I had no idea. So allow me to elucidate. I had to look that word up too. Okay. Basically, it's this. I'm making chocolate. Yes! Ugh. You see, I started thinking, I know I'm creative because I was created in the image of God. But what if drawing and sculpting and, art stuff isn't my thing? What if chocolate making was my thing? My purpose. And time for the last thing. The cocoa powder. In my research, I learned that chocolate comes from a bean that grows from the cacao tree, which technically means that chocolate's a vegetable. True story. Oh, this looks so good. Bon appetit. That is so good. I think I've really discovered what my purpose is. Chocolatey goodness. It's like in today's story. God had a purpose for a woman named Esther, and you're going to find out if she discovered her purpose before it was too late. Time to check the old recipe book. Oh, let's see. Chill for 4 hours. Chill for 4 hours. No, I'm kidding, obviously. It means to put it in the freezer. Just, duh. I had to look it up. And I spent 2 hours in the freezer before I realized that it meant the chocolate and not me. So, see you soon.
So maybe for you, God's created you for a purpose to be a chocolatier. And one of my favorite chocolatiers is Willy Wonka. I mean, could you imagine being Willy Wonka? Willy Wonka is one of my friends. Not real friends, my video friends. He makes some amazing chocolates. And so God created you for a purpose. And we have a very special day and a very special Bible story that we're going to get started.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story. Inspired by the book of Esther.
Welcome today to our Bible story as we see a girl. Her name is Esther, and her friend Mordecai, the king and the powerful, deceitful and tricky Haman. Those are our 4 major characters in our Bible lesson from the book of Esther. And the king decided that he would throw a big shindig, party, celebration, just because the king of Persia can do that whenever he wants. And so while he was doing this big, huge party, he decided that he was going to call the queen in to do a special dance in front of everybody. Well, he sent his servant off to get the queen. And the servant went in to see the queen, and guess what happened? She said, I'm not going in there and doing some dance in front of all these people. Who does he think I am? I won't do it. Well, the servant went back and told the king what the queen had said. And the king wasn't very happy. So, since she refused, all the king's advisors came around and told the king what he needed to do. And they said, listen, you can't let her get away with this, because if this happens, all the other people, all the other women will act the same way. So, he decided that he was going to throw her out. He threw the queen out and said to himself, I'm going to go and get myself another queen. And that's exactly what he did. He got ready and made a proclamation, wrote it all up, gave it to his servant, and his servant ran right out to the street, held up the proclamation, and said, Hear ye, hear ye! A royal proclamation was made throughout the kingdom of Persia, calling for all suitable young women to apply for the position of queen.
Thanks for listening.
And he went on his way. Well, Mordecai, one of the king's subjects, he heard about what had happened. He was a Jew and lived right near the palace. Mordecai was the uncle of the beautiful young woman named Esther. He was her guardian and her lookout because her mom and dad had died while she was quite young. Mordecai heard the king was looking for a new queen. He suggested that Esther apply, and she agreed to give it a try. Esther went to the palace and joined the other beautiful women there that day. A whole year passed as they were given the beauty treatments, perfumes, and in preparation for the great moment to be presented before the king. As soon as the king saw Esther, he fell in love with her. He liked Esther more than the other women that were presented to him. The king announced, Esther should be queen and crowned the new queen of Persia. Soon after Esther became queen, Mordecai heard about a plot to kill the king. These two men, Bigthan and Teresh, were involved. Mordecai stepped up to Queen Esther. Esther, listen. There is a plot to kill the king. You must tell him everything that is about to happen. And Queen Esther went to the king and told him and spared his life. The king was very angry and had Bigthan and Teresh arrested and placed on trial, and they were both found guilty and placed in a grave. The king sentenced them both to death. Haman and Esther had saved the king's life. And you and I might think that's the end of the story, because God had a special plan for Esther. And although God used Esther to spare the life of the king, God had even a bigger plan. As fast as the king made a very rash decision on throwing the queen, not Esther, but the other queen, out of the kingdom, he made another decision to place Haman, a powerful man, in position over all of the kingdom and the palace. Soon, this man took power and control and had everyone looking to him, and the king was very pleased that Haman was in charge of the entire empire. He was a descendant of King Agag of the Amalekites, a race that hated the Jewish people. And if you remember, Esther was a Jew, as well as Mordecai. Every day, Haman would walk around and have everyone bow down to him. Everyone around was bowing and bowing, except for one man. His name was Mordecai. Mordecai was a Jew, and Mordecai believed in the 10 Commandments presented to him, to the Jewish people, from Moses, when Moses went up to Mount Sinai. And he said that I will only bow down and I will only serve the one true God. When proud Haman saw that Mordecai, a Jew, refused to bow down to him, he was angry and upset and held it against Mordecai. Haman wanted to kill Mordecai, but he thought, killing just one Jew isn't enough. I'll kill them all. And he came up with a plan, an idea to wipe out the entire Jewish nation. Well, Haman had his plans, and God had another. Haman came up with a wicked plan. He went to the king and said, Your Majesty, There are some really bad people who live in the kingdom. The king was eager to know more. All those bad people in your kingdom could be destroyed, said Haman. I can arrange for you, and will put a lot of my own money towards making this happen. The king thought, stroking his big long beard, touching his crown on his head, thinking some more. And the king agreed with Haman and gave him the money and the servants to put towards making his evil plan come to life. The date was set for the destruction of the Jewish people, all living in Persia. A royal proclamation has been made in all 127 provinces of Persia. On this date, all Jews, men, women, and children, will be put to death. Mordecai heard the news about Haman's plan, and he was very sad. He put on old scratchy clothes called sackcloth and placed ashes all over himself and began a process called mourning. Mordecai sat outside the gate of the king's palace and talked to other Jews about Haman and his evil plan. Soon, Esther heard about Haman's plan. She was a Jew, but the king didn't know it yet. She sent a servant to Mordecai to ask for some advice. Mordecai gave a copy of Haman's plan to her. What can I do? She asked. Mordecai told her, if Haman had his way, her family, all of her Jewish friends, would soon die. But maybe, said Mordecai, God has allowed you to become the queen of Persia for this one moment. Queen Esther told all the Jews to fast and to pray. Queen Esther decided to speak to the king. But the king has a rule that no one is allowed to enter his throne room without permission. How do I get permission? If anyone entered the room without permission and the king did not extend his royal scepter, off with your head. Esther prepared her heart. She slowly stepped into the door and bravely entered the throne room. When she saw the king looked into her eyes and extended the scepter for Esther to approach the king. Oh, king, I am so excited to be here. He says, what can I do for you? Ask me anything that you would like. She looked at the king and gently and humbly said, King, I am preparing a feast for you. And I would like to invite you and your servant Haman to the feast. I don't know about you, but that sounds crazy. I mean, invite the king. Yeah, amazing. But invite Haman, the guy that wants to wipe out your family, your friends, and everyone else? I don't know about that. The king said that he liked the request, and Haman went running off as fast as he could. In fact, Haman went home to brag to his wife all about it. Except for, on his way home, guess who he peered with his eyes? Mordecai. And when he saw Mordecai, his heart grew angry and bitter once again, until he eventually arrived at home, where he saw his wife and said, I have been invited to a banquet by Queen Esther and the king himself, and it will only be us. Haman's wife was pleased. I think you should build the gallows. Then tomorrow you can ask the king for permission to hang Mordecai. It's the end of Mordecai. What do you think will happen? It was the night before the feast Esther had prepared for the king and Haman. Haman ordered the gallows to be prepared to hang Mordecai, but the king, he couldn't sleep. He was tossing and turning. And the next morning he woke up and told his servants to go around and read to him all of the details of everything that had happened while he had been king. And they read about how Mordecai had spared his life by telling him about the two bad guys that tried to plot to kill him before Haman was in power. The king looked at all of his servants and said, continue reading. Tell me if I have ever rewarded Mordecai for his service to me. Well, he found out he hadn't rewarded him. Well, Haman had hurried over to see the king and arrived at his house. When the king peered down at Haman, he said, Haman, if I was to reward someone for all of their good duties, what do you think I should do? Well, Haman thought he was talking about him. And Haman said, here's what I would do. Dress him in royal clothes, put him on a donkey, parade him by one of your servants through the town, saying this, the king honors this man. Well, the king says, that is a great idea. Go and do that. Get my servant Mordecai. Haman's mind was blown. Get Mordecai? Haman silently fumed and had to go and get Mordecai and place him on the donkey and go through, this is who the king has honored. After he did what the king had asked, he went home, feeling totally humiliated and absolutely filled with rage. He still, though, had a feast with the king and the queen, and he can continue his plan. After eating some fine food at this wonderful feast, the king turned to Esther and asked if there was anything that Esther would want. Well, if you've ever heard this story before, Esther does this 2 times. Finally, on the second feast, he asks one more time. And Esther says this, I have a request, King. I and my people, the Jews, are about to be destroyed by someone in your kingdom. And we need you to protect us. Who would dare kill you? Thundered the king. Esther turned her gaze from looking at the king and looked at Haman. Haman sank down in his chairs and guards began to be shouted at. The king told them to grab Haman Haman grabbed on to Esther's clothes, and the king thought that he was lunging for her life while he was begging for mercy. The king told them to seize that man and take him out. They grabbed him and led him away. One of the servants approached the king and said, "Haman has built these gallows, your majesty, and he wanted to hang your friend, Mordecai." The king immediately ordered Haman to be hung on the gallows. Soon after that, Queen Esther asked if the king could cancel the command for all of the Jews to be destroyed. The king thought, "What am I going to do? But I have an idea. Although the law cannot be changed and it is set in stone, I could make a new command. The Jews will be allowed to defend themselves from anyone who attacks them." So on that day, the Jews were supposed to be killed. They were given swords and spears and shields and took up to defend themselves and to fight back. So all the Jews were saved. Haman was dead. Mordecai was promoted to a high rank. And God answered their prayers in a most dramatic and amazing way. You know, God had a special plan prepared just for one person, and that was Esther. And just like God has a special plan for Esther, He has a very special plan prepared for your life. You and I, we may never become kings and queens, but we might be placed into some place of rule, or we might lead our family. And in every instance, God has a special plan for your life. Say that with me. God has a special plan for my life. Say it one more time. God has a special plan for my life. He has made you in His image, and He has that plan. And here's the thing. All you need to do is obey God and join Him where He's at work in your life. Say this after I say it. Join God with where He's at work in your life. Say that with me. Join God with where He's at work in your life. That's all that God asks us to do. Join Him in His mission, because He has a great mission for your life and for mine. You know, in Esther chapter 4, verse 14, God wrote this because Haman said it. In Esther chapter 4, verse 14, it says this: "It's possible that you became queen for just a time as this." That's what God says. See, God created Esther for a purpose. God created you for a purpose. God created me for a purpose. It's my job, my responsibility to follow God. You know, boys and girls, God created you for a very special time and plan. You know, God knew that you and I were going to face this pandemic called the coronavirus. That's right. And He knew it was going to happen. And He's got a plan for you as you and I learn to live this life that He's gifted to us by loving God and loving others. Let's see what Jake learned about how God created you and I for a purpose.
God always has a purpose. He had a purpose for Queen Esther when He put her in the right place at the right time to save her people. He had a purpose when He sent Jesus to pay for the sins of the world. And here's something you may not know. God made you for a purpose. It's true. Now, you may not have to save a bunch of people from total destruction. I don't know, or maybe you will. Who knows what God has planned for you? but I do know God has a plan and a purpose for your life, whether it be big or small. So think about it. What's your purpose? Is there something you like to do more than anything else? Like baking, or organizing, or juggling. Maybe what you like to do has something to do with your purpose. Or what about this? Is there something that you care about more than anything else? Like animals, or taking care of people, or keeping the planet clean? Maybe those things have something to do with your purpose. Whatever it is, here's the one thing to remember. God created you for a purpose. Actually, I think it would be safe to say purposes. Maybe it's something giant, like Esther, or maybe something simple, like chocolates. Didn't get it. So close, gonna keep trying. Yes! Purpose!
So as you and I think about God being indescribable and that He's our creator that has no limits, I want you to also think that God created you with an amazing purpose and an amazing plan to do His will. It takes you and I being willing and obedient to follow Him. And that's the big question for us today. Will we trust an indescribable God, a creator that has no limits, to use us in ways that only He knows best? Boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed watching Basecamp Online. Really, it's kind of Basecamp Live online, and it's here for you. Thanks for joining us. I look forward to seeing you here next week. Again, if there's anything we can do for you, reach out to me. Have mom and dad text me, call me, or send me an email. We'd love to see you. Also remember, on Wednesday night is kickball night. Then Sunday, we have our big movie night with a huge 20-foot screen. I hope you can join us. See you then. Bye-bye.